third Monday at 6 p.m. Tune into thevoiceofstockton.org.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Julie Dameron, local veterinarian for over 20 years. I am so excited about my new radio show, Tales and Tips, on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, Voice of Stockton, and KXVS Radio. I will discuss relevant issues affecting animals and pet owners today, how to avoid common problems, and how to extend the quality of life for your cherished companions. As a community advocate, I will also discuss important social issues that affect our city. I plan to showcase organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
For more information on the Voice of San Joaquin, go to tvosj.org.
Da 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 da, shabadi da do da da da, shadabada dee da da da, shadalada dee da do da da da, shadabada dee da da da, shadabada be da do da da da, shadabada beat da da da, yeah, shadabada dee da, shad to Tobias.
The Voice of San Joaquin and the Voice of Stockton presents Women in Business with your host, Chef Tobias Cooks.
All right. Chef Tobias Cooks here with the Voice of San Joaquin, formerly known the Voice of Stockton. We are here, part 2, Women in Business. Yes! I am so excited. Please go on and log on to thevoiceofsanjoaquin.org. Click share and support your local radio show. Also log on to Chef Tobias Cooks Radio, Chef Tobias Cooks CEO. Find out the events that's going on with me, everything that's coming up. Also log on to my website, www.cheftobiascooks.com. Yes. So without further ado, catch our first interview. We were very professional on that. We talked about all the important things. Now we are doing our candid conversation with
Miz J in the house.
All right. My first Women in Business guest. Okay, so listen, I am super excited. Let me tell you why. Miz J, sorry, Don.
I did
Miz
that.
J,
that was me. I messed
Miz
up the camera.
J,
Don is a professional
Orlando,
perfectionist.
OJ, and Nicole are the reason why I'm here.
You know it was fate anyway. We were just the midwives. We just help usher you in. That's all.
I came to the Voice of Stockton on your show.
Yeah, Rise and Shine
Yes.
209. Woo woo.
Guess when it was? I looked it up.
Oh God. How long
Okay,
ago
so
was that?
it
That
was
makes me feel
about
so
2
old.
weeks ago. 2 years.
We have an anniversary. We gotta celebrate.
Yes,
This is our
and I'm
celebration.
excited why you came on March because you actually invited me back to come.
I did.
Yes.
I remember you came
And I
for Black
ended up-
History Month,
yes.
and then you came back
Yes,
for Women's
and
Month.
I ended up getting so busy and everything started to get crazy
yes.
between our schedules and stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm excited because this is the invitation
Oh, full circle.
that came back 2 years. Yes.
See that? I just got chills, little goosebumps. I love that. But like I said, we were just the midwives to your vision and fate and what happened. You
Yes.
know, I really, honestly, and not just being that person trying to sound cliche, I really don't take credit for a lot of stuff because I know I'm an asset, but I also know that I'm a tool for the divine.
Yes.
And so it is not me. It's way beyond me.
But we had to get to that point. I'm going to throw myself in that bucket because now I'm on that side of the table where I have created a platform for people. And I've also created a networking for people to meet one another. And so I had to go through that process.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. I had to go through the process of my feelings being hurt and the process of feeling abandoned and the process of feeling used or the process of being overlooked because someone was They want what.
Go and tell the truth. We on the Candid
Yeah.
side now. Are
Yes,
them people that hate all the
Yes,
time, that try to
yes.
throw stumbling blocks,
Yes.
that, you know, are insecure within
Yes.
themselves because they have yet to find their purpose.
Yes.
The leeches that want to
Yes.
attach and suck you dry.
Yes.
Those people who don't understand reciprocity. You know, it
Yes.
happens. It's life.
It is. And I had to learn that.
Mhm.
And I had to go through that entire process.
Yeah.
And what I learned in that process is to always look at it a different way.
Truth.
Look at it as you could have been in a situation where you never had this opportunity.
True.
Or I could have been in a situation where I was still in Oakland. I was probably on my sixth child, having my sixth baby, probably
Who knows?
still on welfare or Section
knows?
A, or you know what I'm saying. So I had to always keep in mind that it's here for a reason.
Yes.
And one thing that I always carry with me is something that Lauryn Hill said. She said, everyone wants to be a prophet.
Oh.
Everyone wants to be that shining star. Everyone wants to be used. Everyone said, oh, use me for my purpose, or I want to go on this journey. She said, but what about when a journey looks like people see you in the dark time? What about if you're being used? Your mistakes could be used, or your embarrassments is someone else's lesson.
Yep.
So when I understood that, and I totally understood that, and I clearly got that, and then that's me. This is so far beyond. And how dare me put my ego in something that I had nothing to do with.
Say that
it.
one more
How
time.
dare me put my ego in the way?
That's what
that
it
had
is.
nothing to do with me in the first place.
The I.
Yes.
I am. I
Yes.
did. I.
Yes.
You know, but yet, you know, a lot of us were raised, you know, in church or in a Christian church, let's say that, which has, you know, you have the Christian church and you have the Black Christian church, which is a whole different dynamic. But everybody, I used to tease people all the time when they would say, what was that one song that came out? I give myself away so that you can use me. And it's like every church was like, I give myself away.
Yes.
And I'm like, I used to tease people all the time. Be careful what you say.
Yes.
Be careful, even in your praise and your worship and whatever you put on is, you know, your connection to the divine. You're saying, I want to be used, and that doesn't always look pretty.
It doesn't.
You know, you're in culinary arts, and some of your best knives have to go through a sharpening process. You know, some of the best, you know, most refined gold has to go through the fire, come out, go through the fire again. The impurities have to bubble up. They scrape it off. They take it out, go through the fire again. And even when there's nothing that bubbles up, they put it in one more time. Nobody wants to talk about that fire process, that pressure process. They just want to look cute.
Yes.
And looking cute sometimes require not being able to go get your hair done.
Oh, absolutely.
Not being able to go get your nails done.
The bun is real.
You know,
The
like we
bun
were talking
is
about the broken cosmetic bags.
Yes.
You know, having your makeup broken and put it together, and you still
Yes.
came out flawless. Piecing together, you know, lipsticks and everything, and you still look good. That part, you know, a lot of us don't get an opportunity to see the other side of that because we get stuck in it's too hard.
Yes.
It's really hard.
It is. It's very hard. Another thing that I always say, especially with women in business, a lot of people ask me this, being consistent. Yes.
That was a struggle for me.
Being consistent, learning how to be consistent, how to organize being consistent, and what is the priorities of your consistency. I did a show about that, huh, Don? Women in business. I talked about being consistent in your business and what does that look like.
Every time I watch, I don't get to always watch you live. I get to go back and binge watch. I love binge watching so that I can just keep playing the next one, the next one. But every show that I've seen, you are always dropping those little nuggets and pricking that deeper
Yes.
part. Like, this is all well and good, y'all, but you got to understand what I had to learn.
Yes.
And that helped me as well, because how often, especially with us visionaries, some people say it's a blessing and a curse. I don't like to use that.
It is a curse.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge.
It is a challenge. Yes.
Where, you know, you're doing what you want to do. You have these of the projects that I have that have been going on for 5+ years is a blessing, because had it been me, the old me, I would have just did it one time
and that's the difference between
thank you.
the true success and that what happens when you have that could you help me, Don, when you have that, I call it that egg breaking moment. Like when you just keep going hard. Listen.
Oh yeah.
Just really quick. For me, for instance, and I was talking to you because I remember I had to learn not to care about what people say about me. And I had to learn not to care about how people viewed me, how people judged me, or how people looked at me. As long as I was respectable,
Right.
as long as I had manners, and as long as I was not demeanor towards other people,
Yeah.
I felt as though it was my right to do what it is that I needed to do in my life.
True.
So in saying that, and this is a lesson for everyone, please grasp this and get this, what I'm about to tell you. Oftentimes, women in business, we put our securities as our priority.
Oh.
And oftentimes...
Hold on, I gotta let that settle. We put our insecurities as priorities.
Yes, we put our insecurities
as
priorities.
Yeah.
And we put our emotions in organizations.
Oh.
So we prioritize our securities and we organize our emotions.
Yeah.
And in doing that, we really don't get a chance to go straight forward to the goal.
Truth.
And I'm not talking about women or anything like that, because men operate different from us.
Truth.
You know, here's the thing. Once you understand that, once you get that, once you can push forth that, then guess what? Then you could be like me on the radio show. I'm coming up on my 100th episode.
Look
that
at
people
you.
don't even know about. I have close to 300 videos
Look at
in
you.
my vlog that nobody know about. I've already written 3 books.
Look at you.
that no one really knows about. So when it's time for this to unravel, and when it's time for the strategy to now bust open for everyone to see, then that's when people are like, oh my God,
Right.
how did Oprah become Oprah?
Right. Did you not know? But you know what?
Yes.
You're absolutely right. You remind me of the artist Lettucey. Those of you who don't know, she's
From
like a
Oakland.
soul, from the Bay Area, soul singer. When she first popped and boomed, she had to check somebody and say, do you not know I already have 10 albums out?
Yes.
Y'all are just knowing me.
Yes.
But I've been touring and doing
well, what
this.
about Prince?
Oh.
Prince was worldly known, and people are just finding out how many albums that he actually had.
Right. Like, look up the
They're
discography.
Like, wait a minute. I thought I knew everything about Prince.
No.
It's just hard to look up that symbol.
Oh yeah.
How do you type that?
I know you.
You
can't.
missed some of the albums.
Yes. But his catalog
Yes.
is unbelievable. Tupac's catalog
Oh my gosh.
is
Okay, so shout out to
unbelievable.
Tupac. Now,
Yes.
this is totally off the grid, but this is
Yes.
a sidebar I love to say. People don't know that Tupac went to Clark Atlanta.
Yes.
They don't know that.
I
But
didn't know
he
that
got
either.
a
Yes.
he went to Clark Atlanta University. He only went for like a semester though.
Yes.
Because he got an opportunity to go and perform.
Yes.
Like he was doing performing arts and all that stuff. But Tupac like had a lot of deeper roots and not just music, but in communities that people didn't even know about. So I tell people, when I know Pac, I know Pac. Now, I wasn't there, of course, when he was at Clark, but the connection to the AUC, I tell people all the time, do your research and understand the person. Because
I've spoken to Pac on 13th Avenue in Oakland, next to Oakland High School, where the whole entire crew, that whole crew,
you have that spirit,
there.
that light that puts you in places that normally people wouldn't be in.
Yes.
You have that. I walked into the store and ran into Oprah. Like, who? I was going to Whole Foods to get my healthy water, and Oprah was standing there. Like, who does that? You always have, people always say, it's always that person always wins something on the radio. Like, you're that type of person. I've never won anything on the radio, but you called 2 and 3 times and always winning something.
Yes, but then
I didn't know you knew Oprah, Chef.
I'm speaking that into existence.
That's a secret. That's a secret. I don't want everybody trying to come after me.
I met Tupac when he was still a dancer for Digital Underground.
Yeah, see, people didn't even know he was a dancer.
Yeah, if you look at the Humpty Dance video, Tupac is the one doing that right there. Yeah, hey, it was funny too, because when he came out with his first song, you know what we were saying? Tupac the dancer?
Right. That's exactly what we were saying.
Yeah, turns out it was Tupac, the lyricist, the poet, the prophet,
and people
the visionary.
don't know that about Diddy too.
Oh yeah,
Diddy is a tap dancer.
Yes,
and I remember learning that when I was
he was doing
but that video he did a special documentary with Gregory Hines.
Oh wow.
And I have to find the archive. I know one of the libraries may have it, but I want to show it to my son, where Gregory Hines, one of the greatest tap dancers and performers of all time, actually did a documentary with Tupac about tap dancing and how that was intertwined in Black history. And people don't know Diddy is an avid like dancer, as far as like style, professional, everything. But we just see the person now. We see the Diddy now, and not knowing why. Seen, oh well, she was on a few shows and now they gave her a show. No, she's been trained for this almost longer than you've been born, ma'am.
The tap dancers be arrogant though. They
do. They really do.
They be talking to you with clicks and taps.
I love it though.
I don't. Yeah.
Don, you an undercover tap dancer too.
Man. Hey,
Don probably could do a 2-step.
You know what's funny? If you went to Berkeley High with me, you'd have been Don, the dancer.
See, I know it. Don is that chameleon person to be like, I should do that too. And then beatboxing with a cardboard, outside breakdancing.
Yes. Like I'm talking about. You said something. I remember. I have a great ear. You had said something that's really phenomenal about your son. Women's History Month. I'm just gonna turn it around a little bit. So we celebrate women.
Yes.
We're celebrating the history of women. We're bringing forth women's contributions, especially to this country. We were the last to be able to vote. But that's not true. But the last genders, only 2 genders.
Yes.
To be able to vote. Here's my thing that I challenge, especially women in business. I challenge this. Mothers, we have sons. We have sons. And it's very important that right now in the climate of our world and the climate that what's going on, yes, women are empowered. Yes, we're leading in the politics. We're leading in businesses. We're leading in all of this. Careful to do that tap dance with our sons as well. True. To let our sons know that there's power. There's a special place for us women. And I feel as though that our duties now is to make sure that our sons understand this. And our sons understand the women's place, the women's goal, but also understand their strength.
Exactly.
And how their strength belongs in this world. Now, look, let me tell you something. Women could do everything. Okay, I might get in trouble for this, Don. Women could do everything, but men are our protectors and our providers.
Yes.
And men play a very, very special role because they have to go before us because the bear is they got to fight the bear. I'm not going to fight the bear.
I ain't gonna fight the bear either, Chef. I'm one of them smart men.
You gonna get you some Wakanda warriors,
Some bear spray.
Yes. Yes, but we also have to understand, we also have to play a very delicate balance in that too.
True. That word,
because
balance.
men are fathers, they are husbands, they are our protectors, they're our providers. You know, because I know women not gonna go out to dinner and be like, I'm gonna pay for everything. We gonna be like, I'm gonna get this free meal. I'm married and I still be like, when you taking me out?
I'm not there yet.
I know you fine. I know you fine.
Yeah.
You know, but
you're absolutely right.
All
though.
seriousness aside, though, I really feel like, and I have 2 sons at home. You know, I have a 13-year-old and I have a 7-year-old, and so while I'm uplifting, you know, my daughter, and while I'm uplifting myself, I also have to be very conscious that my son is watching this as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
You hit me with that one because I only have one.
Yes.
I have my son who's 10 right now, and I'm amazed to watch him become who he is.
Yes.
And I always tell you and the women that are connected to him, a part of the village, that are great reflections of that. And it has become even more prevalent now in my house of how much of an influence I am. And not just because I wear the title as single mother, but to understand that I am a direct reflection of his interaction to the world.
Yes.
How he treats the girls at his school, how he respects the female teachers and administrators, and how eventually he will treat his girlfriend and wife and his daughters if you know he's blessed to have them. You know, that is a reflection that I am influencing. You know, how his mother keeps the house. You know, how his mother requires him to clean up after himself and be independent and cook for himself and do those type of things are all what's going to push him into the successes that he will have as an adult. And if we, like you said, ignore that part, and not intentionally, we don't deliberately ignore our children, but like you said, we're relating to our daughters, we're sticking with them, and we're doing that, and we kind of figure that the boys will get it. We are a vital part in that. And I tell my son all the time, I can't teach you how to be a man, but I can definitely teach you how to be a gentleman.
Yes.
And that is my goal with him, to understand how to respect, how to honor. He opened doors for me now. And it's funny. We go to the store, he carry everything. Push the cart. Yes. You do it. You protect, you provide. And not making him the man of the house. My son is truly a 10-year-old. He is not. I tell him, you're not the man of the house. I don't put that on you. You are the child of the house. You are the prince of this kingdom. But understanding your role and what you should be doing. So when you become a man, you don't have to learn that. You don't have to wait till after high school to be like, oh, you don't have to wait for a girl to stand there go open the door. You know, so when he becomes an adult, he ain't got to think about chivalry.
And as for women, as for mothers, that give us a little bit of comfort to know that they're going to be okay. You can, you're now going to survive this new climate that's coming in. And I think it's very important that I really wanted to mention that, because I really need women in business and mothers to understand that our world has changed. It's changed. It's no longer the same. And I don't want my son not to have the proper education or not know how to deal with women or not know how to respect women and their elements in their box, because I don't want my son accused of anything. I don't want him to be labeled as aggressive. And I don't want him to be labeled as someone saying me too later on. So we do now have to take responsibility to the climate that is now have changed in
absolutely
our society. So it's very important that we do talk to our sons more now, that we do make sure that our sons understand the respect of what to do. No, you might not take this girl on a date, you might have to go on a group date.
Yeah.
To protect yourself.
Right.
Because you don't know.
Oh, that's the rule all the time. I've told my son now, like, there will be no one-on-one nothing.
That's what I told my son too. I said, I'm sorry.
No,
you will have
not
to
today.
Date. There's no more single dates.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going on.
No. It only takes one word, one post, one text, one phone call to be misinterpreted.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that there was malicious intent.
Exactly.
It can be misinterpreted and the trajectory of your life can be changed. And unfortunately, for our Black and brown children, it's even more dire. And that's why I stand on a platform. And I know a lot of mothers say, well, I got too much to do. I homeschool my son.
You got too much to do.
I still homeschool my son for that purpose only. The systems have changed. It's not like it was when we grew up. And until we are secure in that truth, a lot of these cycles won't be broken.
And I just said that when I said you got too much to do, I didn't mean it towards you.
No, I
understand.
Yeah.
When people tell me that, when people say to me, "Oh, I'm busy," I'm like,
"You busy?" No, I get it. Yes.
Really?
But I still make sure that. And not to say that there are, no good schools out there. I'm just horrible at gambling. I don't even like scratch offs. So the gamble of it, in depending on the area, what's available, it's a lot to work through. And I travel a lot, so homeschool is the best.
Let me tell you, my husband actually is the one to homeschool our children. Our children are in school because I have a 7-year-old that needed to be socialized. He studied metaphysics right now.
I can't even spell metaphysics.
I couldn't even say it. I had to slow down before I said it. Right? He's 7 years old, and he can tell you the universe. He can tell you what a black hole is, and he can explain to you the 12 planets and the minerals on each 12 planets and all of this
don't
stuff.
Ask me.
Okay, so
don't ask me.
Look, I can't. Okay, but okay, so moving right along, women in business. While I have you here, we can talk about this.
I know, right? Let's get back to business.
We are moving into, like I said, our world has changed. It's completely different. Women in business. The reason why I really wanted to do this show is because, unfortunately, a lot of women that are in business really don't understand the business part of it. Part one, you said something that was very, very great, is when you started your organization, you did it the right way. You went through the right channels and started your business. Not only are you honoring people, but they're being recognized through the state, through the city, through the proper channels. And so for women in business, it's very important for women to understand how to do business. Now we're moving into a whole new thing. Like you say, you're traveling, you have different chapters now, you're passing the torch on to other people. Yes. Now women in business, what does that look like for women history? To me, global.
Definitely.
That looks global for me.
Oh, definitely.
When people say Women History Month, of course we'll talk about the struggle, how I got started, but going forth, Women's History Month, women in business, we're moving globally now.
Definitely.
What does that look like for you?
It's, for P.U.M.P.S itself, my organization, it already is. We have an ambassador in the UK, in Paris, France. We actually have 2. The number, I love that we have 2 women in the UK that can touch, people outside of the United States doing something. We actually have one woman who is unofficial, but she's truly an ambassador in an American territory, Hawaii, and family in Canada. So being international has already been set in place, but expanding to understand, there are multiple countries out there. We think about what's most popular. We think about Africa is a continent, not a state. And if you just go to one other continent, oh my word, getting outside of just, America, Canada, our neighboring country, that's right there, that it's not hard to get to. Yes, you would need your passport. You need to get educated on the real ID laws, etc. But it's not far as far as, you know, you don't have to take a 13 to 20 hour flight to Africa or Japan or Mongolia or anything. You can just go to Canada and start there. So understanding that it is possible, but before all of that, understanding your purpose and what is required of you, because I don't know how to properly say this, and I know some people probably gonna make some comments, whatever, but I'll go spiritual, because when you go spiritual, most people are a little bit less critical. So many are called, but few are chosen.
This is true.
There are a lot of women in business that believe they deserve to be in a certain area, and not to say you cannot reach successes. Your success is not going to look like mine.
Yes.
Your business is not going to look like Chef Tobias Cook's radios, Chef Tobias Cook's CEO, Cannoli. It's not going to look like that. So just because we are in a different country doesn't mean you can't accomplish the same goals in your state. Prepared yourself, like you said, when you have done the proper work, when you have put yourself out there and invested and created, then you have those opportunities. It doesn't just come like that.
Yes.
But for those women that are in business who feel as if they deserve it, then put in the work.
Yes.
And when people say, oh, I do the work, honey, please.
Yes.
You look too cute to do the work. Some of them, I say, it took you too long to get ready this morning.
Yes.
You ain't doing the work.
Yes. I put my makeup on in your...
Right.
Girl, it was broken. Everything was broken.
And not to say that you can't have nice things and be successful.
I just used the baby wipe.
You know, hey, I have my baby wipes in the car, my Huggies. Baby wipes.
They're great for cleaning stains.
Yes, you know, sometimes you just real quick.
Yes,
and get going.
Get going. Move it on.
But it's the truth.
Yes,
and for women, we have to understand that if you have an
Mm-hmm.
hour to 2 hours to get ready in the morning, when the sun is up, honey, I don't know what work you do. Please tell me the magic.
And I also want to say this real quick is I can't be like Isaiah's my favorite, but he is. I love how he rolls with you.
Oh, he ready. If you to anybody,
her son, he rolls with her. When let's go.
No problem.
We gotta go. Like we were at the jump zone.
Oh, yes,
and he was just getting into it. He was like, we gotta go. He was like,
he was mad, but he was
like,
ready.
give me a moment.
Yeah,
we gonna
have his moment.
He was like, we have one moment. But then when y'all walked out, he was like, let's roll.
He knows it.
What we gotta
I
do.
tell people all the time, if you need a traveling buddy, my son is for hire. He knows. We've been in so many airports. We actually have a competition now. Because as a part of traveling, he collects postcards for every state that he's been in. So he's at, because he's 10, and he's at 10 states, because I remember he said it's my age. So he's visited 10 states. I'm at 23. So he's trying to get to 23 before 2020. And I'm like, okay, well, that's on mama's dollar. But when he's in the airport, when I tell you, he surprises me. He knows how to get that bag. He knows how to stand when we give our ticket and we do the e-check-in. He know how to be there. He knows security. Kids under 12 know how to take their shoes off, but he'll put his electronics in the bin. He's rolling. I'm trying to keep up with him with my bags and everything. You know, he know how to roll. I'm so proud. That's not all me. He got that in him. He loves to roll. He'll tell his grandma, my mom. I laugh at her all the time because she'll text me and be like, he needs to slow down. I said, no, you need to speed up. Don't slow my baby down. Don't stop him from his shine. You need to get it together. He'll tell grandma in a minute. I'm standing outside. When she come pick him up, he's on the curb.
I'm ready.
He'll text his grandma on his phone. What time will you? He understood ETA, estimated time of arrival, for those who don't know. He'll text his grandma ETA at 10 years old, and she'll say 7 minutes. He'll count them 7 minutes and be right outside and check her if she ain't there in 7 minutes. I say, you better go, boy.
Listen, it is so much stuff to cover in such a little period of time. I know we gotta go, but look, we gotta talk about this. This is so important. Women in business. I quit my job.
Congratulations.
Woo-hoo. That was what? No, I quit my job. It was like 3 years ago.
I know, and I continue to congratulate you.
And you?
Yes. 2016, December 22nd, 2016.
Yes.
I walked out of the corporate world.
And I walked out that July.
On the winter solstice?
Yes.
You were like, man, this day is too dark.
And you know what? It wasn't actually. December 22nd, 2016, I remember it vividly. I was working at Human Services Agency for San Joaquin County. I had been there for 6 years in multiple capacities. And when I thank you, belly of the beast.
I don't know how often people said thank you.
I appreciate that because not often. I've had my life threatened.
Yes.
I've had to be escorted to my car. People following me. It's crazy. We can go on and on about HSA.
Thank you.
I worked at the county side in San Francisco.
But when I walked out that
some
day,
crazy person is really lucky that you was there.
Man, for real. And when I walked out, it was so bright and beautiful. There was not a cloud in the sky. It was not a rainy, gloomy day. It was almost like spring.
Yes.
And I'll never forget that because when I walked to my car, I actually looked up and thanked God that I was out of there during the light. Because, in December it gets dark quick.
Yes.
And I was outside while I was still light. And I'm not going back.
Yes. And, a lot of, I should say a lot, but I get this and you get this too. They're like, oh, it's too hard. I got bills to pay. I'm a single mom, or I have this and I have that. And I'm like, when I left my job, I had 2 mortgages and a child in college.
I remember. And you have a husband.
Yes.
And you were like, Cannoli was like in full swing.
Yes. And kids.
Yes.
Like I had kids.
Multiple.
A 4-year-old.
I only got one, so I'll tell you, I don't know how you did it.
A kid in college, 2 mortgages, college tuition. Like, it was real. It was real.
Leap of faith.
It was real. And that faith, every letter of faith was capitalized.
It was
right?
Acronym.
Right?
We need to do that. You got to
I keep changing the acronym, especially on the F part. And house and homeless is the same acronym.
Yes.
And let me tell you, baby, when I tell you that, baby, when I tell you, Dono, house, homeless, hotel, back to the house. It's all the same acronym that I had to. I had to go through. Okay, let me tell you, baby, people don't understand.
And it's not to deter.
That's my Louisiana accent,
right?
Sorry,
It's not. It's not to deter anyone from going for their dreams, but there comes a point. I tell people in the journey that I took, 2015, I was supposed to be gone. I knew spirit would tell you there's always this little nth of something you that it's time. And 2015 I was supposed to leave, but I was afraid because of the stable income, the perks that I got for being a county employee. Yeah. I mean, and not just people, my mom, I was accountable to my son, I don't, and I'll put it out there, I don't get no child support.
Yes.
I don't get not a dime. So I was thinking like all of that going on. And so, right, exactly. That's another story. But God still blessed my son's father. Yes. But, I see you. I thought, you got
delayed.
it now.
Delayed
reaction.
Yeah.
But even with that, because I stayed 2016 was the most difficult year at HSA. I was in the emergency room 5 times that year.
Wow.
For high blood pressure. My blood pressure was so high. At that time, the county had a contract with Dameron Hospital. They had to put me in a black room and shoot me with morphine because I was on the verge of having a stroke in my early 30s. I was diagnosed with severe depression, anxiety, adjustment disorder. Of course, all that was affecting my body, my just functioning menstrual cycles. Everything was off. Skin, hair falling out. I had been tested twice for cervical cancer, had to have a biopsy on my cervix. All that was going on just in 2016. Not that I had any history of that. I don't have a history of that. I've always been a thick girl. Yeah. So we know the weight part. But I never had any history of that until the end of 2015, and I dealt with that all in 1 year. So when it got to that point of December 22nd, it had been the last of the last.
Yes.
And I actually had one of the higher ups at HSA tell me the truth. We have people dying of cancer there, and they told me, no matter how you leave here, somebody's going to just replace you.
Yes.
They didn't care.
It's true.
Whether I had sick time or not. You be lying in your bed. I'm sitting here, and I'm a single mother. So if anything happened, my son would be left by himself. I was training my son, and this, I get emotional when I talk about it. I was training my son on an emergency protocol just in case I stroked out, had a seizure, or suddenly died.
Wow.
And how do you tell your 5-year-old child, hey, just in case you wake up and mommy's dead in the bed, this is what you do? The torment emotionally that I put my son through was enough to say, no more.
Yeah.
There is not an amount of there is not a check you can write. And I say that, and I stand on that all the time. I've been offered plenty of opportunities, and I left the county in good standing. So let me make that clear. When it is purpose, you don't leave in drama. I didn't leave with a fight. I didn't leave like that. I didn't have no bad reputation. I wasn't showing up late. I lost a lot of vacation time. I wasn't habitually taking off. You know, it wasn't anything like that.
Well, I did have a vacation before I left. So instead of doing a 2-week notice, I did a 3-week
Well, because
notice.
you took your vacation time. Yeah, that's smart. That's wisdom. Because if y'all don't know, you get your sick time. You don't get your vacation time. So take that vacation time.
Nice. Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom from Chef Tobias Cooks.
It was a 3-week notice.
You take that time because you don't get it back.
So
no, I get it.
Because the HR was like 3 weeks. I was like, yes, because I have the 5 days.
Take your time because
so
you don't get it back.
3 weeks. So technically, when I come back,
right? Because you'll get your sick time. You don't get your vacation.
Yeah, you get applause for that. The crowd went wild.
Yes, take your time, but absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, both of you, because like in nature, right? Like if you dig a hole and you come back like 3 years later, that hole's going to be filled, even if nobody went to fill it.
Truth.
Right? And but if something is there, nothing's going to replace it. Like if there's a boulder there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like by staying where you were, you weren't causing yourself to be anywhere else. And by removing yourself for that situation, something else filled that hole. But now you a boulder someplace else.
Truth.
And being there and doing that. And I think that I'm wondering, like, in that process, it takes a lot of courage. We don't know anything for sure, but we know that, like, we got to eat and we got to take care of our people and those kind of things. We got to breathe, got to have a place to stay. And that is your lifeline. You're cutting that lifeline.
Yeah.
Were you conscious that that's what you were doing, or were you just following, the will of the universe? Were you being led, or were you pushing it? How did that come about?
Well, for me, it was a combination of it all, because I was always aware of my finances, especially in that last year. It got hard financially. So I did have to go back on aid after working at the welfare office to now need it. But I don't carry, because I've worked there, I don't carry that stigma or that shame for welfare. Like, people don't understand, when you pay taxes, that's what you're paying into. You're getting your money back. You're paying into this system in order to get it when you need it. That's why it's called TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families.
Yes.
Everyone who has or who is on a payroll pays into it. So I was not ashamed to say, now I need it, because I invested.
Yes.
I not invested, not only my time, I worked here, so I need this back.
Yes.
So I definitely used it. When I knew it was absolutely time, like towards the middle of 2016, I did weigh out my options, like you said, how much vacation time I had. So I knew the strategy to take before I would need to buy into the welfare system. So I I mean, and I'll show my personal business. It's done and over with. But I didn't need my unemployment or any aid until like a year later.
Yes.
I was still getting paid because of
Yes.
what I had invested in, the strategy I used. So I do, and thank you for bringing that up. You do need wisdom.
Yeah.
But you are still being led by spirit. You are still
Yes.
flowing with the universe. And it just at that time, because like I said, it was time 2015.
Right.
So at that time when it was like, I need to go, things just started lining up. Different projects that I was doing, people start calling me, like I was sharing before. I'm not a baker, but I do love to bake and cook. Right. So you have some of my cupcakes. So that was just the hobby that I had.
Still
but then
on our
people,
Facebook page.
but people start calling like for parties, like, hey, can you know, I catered a whole wedding. I did a couple of weddings. Like I was the dessert caterer. So those type of monies that came in, you know, kind of helped and flowed to where it really wasn't that hard financially, but there were some struggles. I left my apartment complex because I had to break the lease, and I had to talk to the leasing agent and say, well, y'all either gonna evict me or I'm just gonna owe y'all for the rest of this lease. You know, and eviction is worse. So I had to leave. I sold my car. So I had to start that part over again. But it was all worth it. I don't regret any of it because, as y'all can see, I have yet to miss a meal. I have yet to be without transportation. When I went to Georgia, out there a lot of people drive, but because Atlanta is so massive, the train is the best thing to do anyway. And I just don't like traffic. So not having a car at that time wasn't even a struggle. And my son, he loved it. He was like, we're going to ride the train?
Yes.
We're about to ride the bus? I mean, he was ready. Snacks and all. Snacks in the backpack. So,
Man, he is so optimistic.
he is. And I love that. I don't know where he gets it from. I can't take credit for it.
Isaiah.
Yeah, well, I didn't. I have to give his father credit. His father had a vision of that name and called me, I think I was at the end of my second trimester, and said, we have to name him Isaiah. I gave him, well, I didn't give him, but I honored him with his middle name, Khalil. In Swahili, that means God's friend. But yeah, Isaiah, his dad did that. So every time he lives up to his name, I blame his dad.
That's great. I know for me, when I quit, I had to. I had to. I'm not going to really talk about the situation because it's dealing with a huge company. But I had to quit. And the reason why I quit, because I refused to let someone determine what my worth was. A lot of people in the culinary field know that it could be a very racist field, and it could be a very sexist field as well.
Yes.
And I was in a position where I was not going to allow someone to determine what my worth was as a chef.
Yes.
So that's why I had to leave. And it was my choice, you know. So when I left, I told my family, look, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. 3 weeks later, I ended up with my own bakery. I had no.
I told you. See, she just has that.
I did. Yeah. I ended up with my own bakery. And then after that, I said, you know what? It's either go big or go home. And so every challenge that I meet, every challenge that I come upon, it was either go hard or go back. Now, I will say to someone, especially a woman that's thinking about doing this, you have to understand something. Miz J is an educated woman. She's went to one of the most famous colleges in the world. You have people in the world that are trying to go to that college. She has a network that is unparalleled. You cannot pay for her network, and you cannot socialize your way into her network because her network is a very selective network, and she has network upon network on network that if she needs something, guarantee within the next hour someone's gonna find out how to get it to her. Okay.
That's true.
For me, I have my chef bag and my chef coat. I could put on my chef
and
coat
look good at it
and
too.
put on my chef bag and go work in anybody's kitchen.
Right.
And she mean business. When you have that coat on and that hat, do not step to her any type of way wrong.
Order, please.
No, Chef Tobias Cooks is out. So I'm going to tell you, I could flip pancakes.
Yes.
I could grill a burger. I could fry French fries. I could do whatever I need to do.
Truth.
to make that check.
That's good.
While I'm in the process of formulating my career.
Good wisdom.
People need to understand this. They really need to understand that there is no shame in having something that you can fall back on. You have to have something so that you can move forward. If you were a nurse, look, you could do home care while you're writing that book. You know what I'm saying? If you did hair, you could braid hair in your house while you're working on getting that hair shop. You know, if you're at home, if you didn't have any kind of education, you could babysit while you go to college. There's an
app for that too.
Look at
there is.
Look at the lady who sold the apple cakes.
Oh yeah,
to save her mortgage, and ended up.
They did a movie about it.
Ended up with the movie and books and a whole nother company.
You didn't see that?
No.
And she only had like one cake. It wasn't like she was a bakery with all types of. She just did one thing good.
Aretha Franklin.
I know women. I know women personally that mow lawns. I know women personally that have master's degrees that clean houses so that they could write their book, so that they could formulate their business plan, so that they can travel. And they clean houses and they have master degrees. Okay, so let me tell you, when I say something, I have no shame in my game frying fries and frying chicken and flipping a hamburger.
Hey,
and I'm still on a magazine, and I'm still on TV, and I'm still cooking for celebrities. And I'm still doing so. I don't have no problem with filling in my 4 or 5 hours, doing that to get me a little paycheck so that I can move forward in my career. That's the real truth that people don't want to talk about.
Yeah, that's wisdom. And it's like I said, many are called or few are chosen. So there's very few that understand that have not just a trade, you know, but going back to get a certification for something is easy. And I tell people all the time, you know, I was a great worker because I did above and beyond. I would tell the women, you know, if you're on cash aid, you got to go through welfare to work. Take advantage of that. You know, I had to go through the welfare.
Unemployment and remember Obama? Well, facts. People Obama had approved for the food stamps and the unemployment.
Oh yeah, but you use that. You know, you invest that into yourself. When I had to go through the welfare to work program, even though I have my college degree, I got a certification. I went to school to do that. I'm already a sign language interpreter, but I made more money having that certification right at Delta College. You know, you went and did your culinary arts at Delta College, not playing into that stigma. You know, people get embarrassed. Oh, I'm going to Delta. Delta College is a state college. Do you not know?
College is a great school.
How amazing that is?
I tell people that all the time.
Go and get it. And if you don't want to go and get
Delta
another
College
degree,
awesome
get a certification to do something, and you can fall back on that. Because, honey, I'll be in there interpreting in a minute. I interpreted at multiple churches, mega big, what they call them mega churches in Atlanta, the ones that have, you know, arenas. My church, we have like 50,000 members. But I did that, training other people, giving intro to ASL classes, you know, help bring that in there, helping other people write their book.
While you work,
you gotta do it. Do something else. Don't just get fixated and stuck on, you know, what this goal is and how can I get here? Because there's levels to this.
Well, I will just say this before we get out of here real quick. I always say that while you're in the transition, still stay within your
because I can never braid hair and try to jump into something.
Exactly. Because I see people that sell homes and they're a chef or I'm kind of like,
real estate, cooking, mechanics, nail tech, hair.
Like me, I'm a chef, so I'm gonna stay in that entire realm of that. So if you can stay within that entire realm, at the same time, you're able to still build your brand.
True.
You're still able to build your entrepreneurship.
That's wisdom.
You're still able to build what you need to build, and also it keeps you sane.
Oh yeah,
and it keeps the stress off of you, and it also keep encouraging your children as well, because they're seeing, oh, mommy's still you're still living and you're still vibing, you know. And so I would say that if if being an entrepreneur, being in business is something you want to do, first educate yourself.
Definitely. And self-education, sometimes you get more.
Yes. Educate yourself. Volunteer.
Oh, yeah. Service is the leading avenue to success.
And prioritize your emotions and your insecurities.
That's good.
Wait. You should have said that first.
Not necessarily in that order, but I know we have to leave, but I do have a special surprise for you.
Oh, no. Don't, no.
I'm going to do it. It's something small.
Okay, but let me say something
Okay,
first.
go ahead.
I want to say first thank you.
Thank you.
No. I really want to say thank you from my heart. I've told you thank you before, but I really, truly want to say thank you. And the reason why I say that is because I really don't believe Stockton knows how blessed they are with you.
Oh, I'm not going to do the crying thing. Thank you.
But thank you. Seriously, thank you.
That's humbling.
And I just want to just always make you proud when I come on this microphone. That, trust me, I bring you in.
I am in awe of you.
Yes.
Like, you don't know. I'm truly a fan. I'll be like, what?
I bring you in with me, and I always, you have my loyalty, you have my support. Yes.
Thank you. And you got me too.
Because I'm a ride or die.
Definitely. That's why we connect. And we connect on so many levels. And I'm honored to have you as a sister.
Yes.
Thank you so much. But before we go, I do have a gift for you.
Oh.
And I'll go ahead and plug to be professional to make you feel comfortable.
Okay.
So I am an author. I've written 4 books. They're all available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Goodreads, and now Google Play. Well, only 2 are available on Google Play. But I'm excited about that and other avenues. But that will be on there. It's all on my website as well. I'm working on my 5th book to honor my grandmother. It's called Under Granny's Apron. I'm actually, so this is a 2-part, and this is the first that I've ever announced this right here on the Voice of San Joaquin County. But I'm dedicating that book to you, my 5th book.
No. No.
Wow.
You've helped me. That's not even a
stop.
surprise.
Stop.
I'm serious.
Okay,
You
we are leaving right now. So
keep it rolling, Dawn.
No.
So I am dedicating my 5th book to you. The title is Under Granny's Apron, Food from the Soul. Yes. Because you and I have a special love for the South and food from the soul. Don't do it. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. Don't do it. And I want to honor not only our elders and the pioneers in culinary arts, but also the women who have sacrificed and who are staying true to that art. You were one of the few chefs that continue to pay homage to the grannies, the grandmas. You always talk about your aunties and selling chicken out of the window, and you share those stories with no regret, and you always honor those women who have done it, and that's what that book is about. You inspired me to write that book because that is something that I loved. I fell in love with food being right there with my granny in the kitchen. And even though I'm not a chef, the spirit of the grandmother still live on, and you're carrying that out. So when the book is released, you will have a special dedication in there. And I am honored. I am thankful. But because the book is not done yet, and I will have to announce that date later. It's a spiritual process. I am gifting you with a copy of my 4th book, Diamond Destiny, Pressured for Purpose. Yay. Before I leave, I'm going to sign it. I'm trying not to cry, so now I start sweating when I'm trying not to cry. But Diamond Destiny, Pressured for Purpose is a book about the process, being a diamond. I actually spent 2 years educating myself on what it takes to actually make a natural diamond. So the book mirrors that process, cut, color, and clarity. And you have been pristine in all of that. And so not just to plug my book, but to understand that you were truly a diamond and the pressures that you have gone through, not just for you, but your husband, having that support, your children, the struggles that you have, you know, had and even shared with me to encourage me about marriage and relationships, are really reflected in this book. And when I wrote this book, and the spirit I have with this book, we weren't as close. So I did want to gift you with that book and let you know that under Granny's Apron will have a full page for Chef Tobias Cooks. And I want to say thank you, because without having you as a sister, I know for a fact that that book wouldn't be birthed, and it wouldn't be confirmed and affirmed for Diamond Destiny. So thank you.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And I love you.
Yes. What's wrong with that? Yes.
Yeah, that's confirmation. That's all it is. They're celebrating too.
and this is what it looks like. This is what women in business.
Yes. You are truly my sister.
Thank you. This
I love
was
you.
That sacrifice that we was talking about. This what it looks like.
I'm not gonna cry though. Stop doing that. I'm not crying. Y'all got me.
I got some tissue. You don't got to use the sweater.
Thank you.
Go
Thank
ahead.
you.
How
Look.
can they find your book?
Diamond Destiny, all of my books. The first one is The One in the Pocket. The second one is 30 Days to a Greater Me. Then there's Diamond Destiny, and I'm missing another one, but it's on Amazon.com, also on my website, BarnesandNoble.com. And yeah, just Google, if you Google Miz J, all my titles will come out. So
I'm so excited about this. Look.
Follow the model.
Yes. We're going to get out of here. I'm just overjoyed. I'm really overjoyed. Not because of the dedication, but because this is what it looks like. This is what women in business is for.
Yeah. And thank you for doing it.
Thank you. Okay, we have to go. See you next week.
Da 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 da, shabba da do da da da, shabba da dee da da da, shabba da dee da do da da da, shabba da dee da da da, shabba da dee da do da.